A series of terrible coaching decisions leaves Boston College basketball with their worst loss in the last 25 years.
You are Locked On Boston College, your daily podcast on the Boston College Eagles. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Locked On Boston College, your team every day. I'm your host, AJ Black of Eagle Insider, part of the 247 Network, also part of the Locked On Network, the number one sports podcast network in the world. Thank you all for joining us. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more with FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get up to $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today. On today's show, we're going to look at interesting wrinkles for the football team in the portal. What the heck is going on with BC Athletics this fall? It's been bad. And BC basketball hits an all-time low with a terrible loss to Central Connecticut. Let's dive in. This is our fun episode here at Locked On BC as we continue our fall, which has been just highlighted with low light after low light after low light. Well, we have a new low light for us to go over, which is BC basketball losing to Central Connecticut 60-59. Now, if you have been following BC basketball for the last 10 plus years, you've seen enough bad losses, bad buy game losses to fill a bucket. IUPUI, UMass Lowell, Dartmouth, Albany, like you can just go and name every single one of them. This may have been the worst. And this does not go down as an issue with NIL. This does not have to do with talent on your roster. This goes down to coaching. This is a huge coaching problem because if you hear what happens, you'll understand. So overall scheme of things, BC could not shoot a bucket into the ocean in this game. They, going into halftime, were shooting 28% from the floor, and your main offensive game plan was swing the ball to Donald Hand and have him brick a three-pointer. That was it. That's all they were doing. Donald Hand went 1 for 12 from three-point range. When you start to see that your star shooter cannot shoot a three-pointer, maybe that's the time to adjust your offensive game plan. Nope, that's what they just kept doing. And Central Connecticut, to their credit, took advantage of that because BC could not. I could have figured that out. And I'm sitting here as a podcaster. Do something different. Get the ball down low. Get someone else to shoot three-pointers. I don't care what it is. You're the coach. You're paid to do this. Figure it out. Well, they didn't. And so BC, you could just see it as the game was progressing on. Central Connecticut just kept creeping back. BC had like a 4-point lead going into halftime, and things were just not clicking. And you're just watching this and going, it's going to happen again. It's going to happen again. They're going to lose this game in front of, 600 people or whatever are left watching these midweek bye games. BC falls apart in the second half, just like as I said, and Central Connecticut takes the lead. And then you're going, this is going to fall apart. And that's exactly what happened. Now, I need to read to you the series of plays that ended this game. With under a minute 30 left, BC does take the lead, but here's what happens. You get Jaden Hastings with an offensive foul with 1:15 left. And at this point, you're going, here, guys. Then they get the ball back. DJ Hand opts for a three-pointer with a 1-point lead instead of driving with 21 seconds left. Again, as I just said, DJ Hand hadn't shot. He had 1 3-pointer the entire game, and that is the shot you took. Now that could be a little bit more on the players for continuing to take those shots, but as a coach, you got to be yelling, DJ, don't take that shot. You got to figure something else out there because that is not an excuse. So 21 seconds left. Central Connecticut gets the ball back, and at this point, if you're like me, you're going, this is over. And of course, what happens? Bad interior defense. Central Connecticut lays it up with 3 seconds left. But here is the point, right here. This is the point where the horrible DJ Hand selection of plays, the offensive fouls, the bad interior defense, it pales in comparisons to what happens here. They still have 3 seconds left. Earl Grant does not call a timeout. He has a timeout, and we'll say, and he explains it. And so they instead opt to chuck the ball down the court and take a really bad shot. And that's it. They lose. And Earl Grant tries to defend his decision after the game when he says, I have it right here, it happened so quick. I took the 4-man. I think the 4-man took the ball, threw it into DJ, and it just happened quick. A little bit of time left. Maybe we could have thrown it to have 5.5 seconds left to get a shot, but just happened quick. And that was his decision on not calling a timeout. You had a timeout. This is what you're paid to do. You're paid to make these decisions so you can help put your team in the best position to win. Just chucking it down the court with the team that has been falling apart is not a decision that is going to get your team in the best position to win. And you lose. I don't know what to say. I don't know what this is coaching 101. When you come out here and you say that is so disheartening. You see all the burners making memes about him not using his timeouts in various games, but this was so clear. This was so clear. All he had to do was just take that timeout, and maybe he could figure something out. He didn't. He just said, "Yeah, screw it. Let's just go for it." And what happens? They lose. So you lose to I think they were number 330 in the Ken Palm. Central Connecticut had not beaten a major conference team since 2000. We're in game 3, folks. Game 3. You lost the first game, and arguably that was on the coaching staff. You blew out the Citadel. Great. Now you beat them. Next, you get to go to Temple. Temple is on the road. If this goes the way that I think it could be, we are going into for a long season. I never thought 2015 could happen again, but we could be on the precipice of both of our major conference programs losing every single game this year. That's how bad things are. So where are you at? Where are we at with this? Again, coaching. I look at some of the other decisions he made too. I don't like leading with basketball because I know it's a dead zone, but when it's something I'm really passionate about, and this game really got me going, I have to. You had Chase Forte on your bench for the last 6 minutes of the game, and you went to Luka Taves instead. Luka Taves, who had done nothing most of last year, who's coming back from an injury, who I don't know what he has on the coaches. They continue to play him. Chase Forte for the first 2 games was one of the best players you had, and you left him on the bench. Why? It couldn't be because of playing style because you left Donald Hand out there. I don't understand anything he's doing. If you're a basketball head, leave it in the comment section. What am I missing? What is he doing? It seems like simple coaching decisions are flying right past him. And so, yeah, BC absolutely needs to make a coaching change. I don't know. If things are going to go this way, I can't see how Earl Grant makes it through the season because I don't see them winning many games at all. I mentioned this at the beginning of the year. I told you, if you're listening to this podcast, yeah, hope wasn't eternal because you brought in a bunch of guys in the portal, and yeah, there's some interesting names in there. When you have a coach that has shown over and over again that he can't win games, and I point back to the season where they made the NIT, and they should have made the tournament with that team, and they didn't because of him, that should be everything you need to not go into this season with Earl Grant again. And look what we're at. We're with Earl Grant year 5, with more WTF losses. It's November 12th, and we're already talking about the season being over. This is what it's become. This is why I don't cover BC basketball every game, because it's depressing. No one wants to hear about it, and it ends up with this every single time. Sorry, I had a very passionate rant today. I had this saved up. I hope you enjoyed it. In a moment. Wait a minute. I got more to talk about. Ah, darn it. What is going on with BC Athletics? Man, I got some more negativity coming down your road. Let's hear about it in just a moment. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280 plumbers, HVAC, and electrical items for the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. Need parts fast for a project? Supply House has next-day delivery. Talk about a game changer. And the Trademaster perks like priority shipping and dedicated support make the whole process easier. Join the free Trademaster program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use promo code SHCollege for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com for real people, real service. This is Locked On Boston College. I'm AJ Black. Thank you all who have made Locked On Boston College your first listen every day. And to all our everydayers out there, thank you so much. I know it hasn't been easy. And as what I'm going to say here, it's not getting any easier. All right, so let's dive in. Ever to excel. That is the motto of Boston College. When you go there, like I did, you know all about it. It's drilled into your head the minute you walk in, from the academics to everything, from the community service. That is what you as a person, the motto that you should install in yourself. That is the complete opposite of what BC Athletics is this year. BC Athletics has been whatever to whatever. I know a lot of folks have said this. I'm not original with this, but I'm going to use it today. This fall season for BC Athletics has been one of the worst I've ever watched. It rivals 2015. Everything that's going on right now in BC Athletics has not been good. You have BC football right now at 1-9, looking very likely to not win a single FBS game this season. You have basketball. I just talked all about that. We're just at the beginning of what could be a catastrophic season for that team. You have women's basketball. I saw Talia Goodman, who is a really respected women's basketball writer, do her ACC poll of where teams are at. Guess who's in last place right now? Yep, Boston College. Speaking of basketball, going into yesterday, guess what team was the only team in the ACC with a loss? Boston College. So they got joined by Wake Forest, who lost to Michigan, which is not Central Connecticut. But this isn't the point. You are into the fall season, and every single team is near the bottom. And I'm talking non-revenue teams too. Field hockey. I don't cover field hockey. I'm not even going to pretend to know anything about field hockey. But I do know this, that they, for multiple years, have been a top 10 team. They've been pretty good. You see the results, and they get the graphics up about them being, near the top and whatever. They go into the season, they're a top 10 team again. So you're feeling, okay, if you like field hockey, or you got family there, or you're an alumni, whatever. What happens to field hockey? They finish in the bottom of the ACC. They don't even make the ACC tournament. They fall completely off the tournament, the top 25. They fall all the way down to the bottom. They don't even make the ACC tournament. And then you've got every other non-revenue sport. Just look them up. Whatever was playing this fall, they're all at the bottom. Every single one of them. And I don't go into the ins and outs. It's just the theme of Boston College athletics. Every single team, even hockey right now is not playing at the level that they could be. And that's a different story, because they're okay. But every other team, in women's hockey too, but every other like non-revenue sport is in the gutter. So this raises a big question right now. Where's Blake James? Has anyone heard from Blake James? Has he made any comment about the state of Boston College athletics? You see multiple ADs, especially in football, when teams suffering, they either do a comment that's, this, what was it, Wisconsin, for instance. We're going to bring back Luke Fickell, but we're going to increase the amount of financial backing for him next year so he can be successful. Good comment. It was kind of controversially keeping Fickell, but you understand why, and you can understand why he's thinking that. What do we have from Blake James? If I looked at his Twitter right now, I think the only tweet that I saw in the last month was a winning post, which is his hashtag winning, about a volleyball win. That's been about it. How, as a program, does no one show any accountability, to the fan base? The fans, the ones that are paying money for football, some of them are going to be paying thousands of dollars for those new club seats that they're building. How does no one hear anything about how A, this is unacceptable, and B, what you're going to do as a director to change this? I find this shocking, but not surprising. It's been BC's policy for years to never say anything. And again, I go back to, if I'm Father Jack when I take over, I think he's on sabbatical right now. I am going to change. I need to change how BC athletics is run. It cannot be a mom and pop shop that just basically puts in the bare minimum and brings the bare minimum back. Because as I said before, conference realignment's coming. You need to put yourself in the best position. I got excited when Father Jack took over because I think I do think, and I don't know what he's going to do. Don't ask me because I haven't talked to him. I just know from everything I've heard and people I've talked to, he has a great vision for this program, but he's got a lot of work to do. The malaise around this program, bare minimum of what they do, is so sad. I mean, we're not even talking about the fact that if you turned on that Central Connecticut game last night, how many students were there? There was nobody. It's so sad. And then football, you're watching the third quarter and the stadium's 75% empty. They need to figure some things out. Make this more about the fans. Make it so that fans want to follow these programs. Right now, all I hear from the fan base, and many of you are in my comment sections, many of you are on Twitter tweeting at me, many of you are like, I'm done. I'm done. And I ask you, and I get it, don't quit yet. This season is going to stink, but I'll be here, and hopefully I can make you laugh. We've had Skeleton Man, we got Joker Mitch, we got some surprises, I'm sure. I think next year we'll start to see things. I've heard good buzz about what changes football's already going to see this offseason. I can't get into them because it's just been things I've been hearing, but I think hopefully that'll help. Hopefully you'll see some coaching staff changes, whether it's assistants at the football level or just wide sweeping things for basketball. It needs to happen. They need to have big changes. And then the school itself needs to put money in. I don't understand this. I don't get it. I'm not a business major. I run my own business. Some of you think I just do this for fun. No. My work at Eagle Insider and my work here is a business. I put money into it. I hire staff. I do all of that good stuff. But I know what my bottom line is. And I know if I put money and bring in a good product, I'm going to make more money. That's simple business. I don't need to be a business major to know that. I'm a writer, a podcaster. When you put in the bare minimum like BC does, the profit that you're going to get back is going to be minimum. You're going to have your ticket sales for a Central Connecticut game be meek. Who knows what their luxury box seats are going to be like next year because you didn't put any money into it. I don't understand how a Father Leahy and the people that allocate the money to athletics don't get that the more money you put in, the more money you're going to get back. Wins pay you money. You will get, football, it's literally in the contract they signed. For basketball, you're going to get more tickets. You're going to get more people watching, more eyeballs, and more eyeballs is going to bring in more revenue. So that seems so simple. And it's mind-blowing that BC continues to either, and I don't even know, how Earl Grant compares in salary-wise, but if you can him, say you can him, is BC going to spend right now with Father Leahy? Are they going to spend money to bring in a coach that's going to get them to win? Or are they going to just, scrape? Earl Grant, when he came in, I watched that and said, what? Like, you had all these names of guys that have won. You could have spent a little money and got him, and you got Earl Grant. Like, spend the money for whoever's going to be the coach. You have to do that. And for BC to not do that it's criminal. It's so sad. Figure it out. Figure this out. All right, in our last segment, I have a little bit more schematic talk. Let's get a little bit more positive. And I have a thought about BC football going into the offseason that I think we should talk about a little bit more, and we'll get into that in just a moment. The NBA is and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sportsbook betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. I've been loving the Celtics lately. They've been riding the hot hand. You can get them and whatever odds they have going on FanDuel. You can combine that with points scored or reboundings in a game. You can do all that. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your first game with FanDuel, the official sportsbook betting partner of the NBA. Locked On Boston College, AJ Black here, and I want to also shout out everyone who has made Locked On Boston College your first listen every day. Thank you so much. I know it hasn't been easy, but we've been going through, and I've been hopefully hitting the big topics that you as a fan wanted to talk about. Because, you can listen to other podcasts, and obviously there's other ones out there. But my job isn't just to sugarcoat stuff. My job is to tell you how I feel. And right now I have a lot of feelings about BC sports, and I hope you are enjoying, my takes on some of these things. Now, football, as I mentioned in the last segment, has a lot to go on this offseason. Hopefully, they have the resources to do what they need to do. But there's an interesting wrinkle that could change how they have to view the portal. Now, they're going to have guys leave. It's going to happen. I have a whole list on my desk of guys I have circled as, I think they may enter the portal. Guys that you haven't really seen play. Maybe they're hitting their older seasons, and I'm sure there'll be a few surprises too. When you're 1-9 and you could be 1-11, that could happen as well. But going into next year, some of those spots that you open up might actually be taken by guys that you expected to get out, to leave. And there's a few examples. You look at guys like Bam Crouch, Jaden Skeet, Owen Stodmeyer. They all have played 4 games or less because of injuries. Then you have players like Onye Nuisi, Chuck Nato. I don't know if it was injuries or they're just being held out. I don't know. That's not they're not talking about it, but they're on the availability reports as out. They haven't played 4 games either. You have a number of players. Cam Martinez is another one that have not played 4 games yet. They can all redshirt. So you could technically infuse your team back with 4 years players, the guys that are in their 5th, 6 years. Cam Martinez might be in the 7th. That could be basically like your portal guys because you didn't get anything out of any of them this year. Mari Jackson's another one. Like, you could go out in the portal and try to find guys that are better. But these guys that all the ones I just listed basically played no role in your team this year. They all played like 2 or 3 games, one of them being Fordham, and then they were gone. So when you're looking at the portal, you have to wonder, is the guys that you know better than the ones that maybe you're going to take a gamble on? And maybe you should just use those spots on players that you know. I would love to see Amari Jackson back. I would love to see Jaden Skeet back and Bam Crouch. But those guys are all guys that also will have a decision to make too. And again, I don't know where they're at. This is up to them to decide. Their thought too could be, are they coming back or are they hitting the portal? Some of them may be not playing, and maybe none of them are, but there's a good possibility there's a player or a couple of them that are not playing because they want to hit the portal and play somewhere else next year. I have to imagine that that's a case too. So that could be the case, and then you're back at the portal again. Logan Taylor is another one. I only bring him up because Bill O'Brien brought him up on his podcast. There's a provision because of that horrible shooting at UVA about 4 years ago when he was there that could give him another year of eligibility, which, again, I would love to have Logan Taylor back because he would be like a 6-year player. And I think, honestly, he's been playing. He also said that I think he has either a dislocated shoulder or something wrong with his shoulder. But to get him back healthy, that would be huge too. So all of these players, this is going to be a subset of players we're going to have to watch to see. I'm not going immediately. I know some of you are listening. They're going to go to the portal. I don't know that. Some of them may. Maybe all of them do. Who knows? I'm not thinking that that's going to be the case, though. I think there's going to be some that will stay. But we'll have to wait to see. Because I think that's a storyline that we really haven't gotten into much here, is that these guys that are all out, many of them could play. And many of them are, as we saw at the beginning of the game against Notre Dame, Amari Jackson is much better than what you've been throwing out there. Having him back would have been huge. Having Syer Torrance, who's going to have many years anyways, he's not the same deal. Having those guys back would be a major upgrade for your team. So that's something I'll be watching. Now, on tomorrow's show, we are going to talk with Locked On Georgia Tech for our crossover episode. They have two hosts. I don't know if I get both of them or one of them, but I do know we'll be talking to them. So make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel to get that. Follow me on Twitter at AJBlack247. You can check out my work at Eagle Insider for written work. And I'll see you all again tomorrow for another episode of Locked On Boston College, your team every day.